Welcome to Women's Million Dollar Conversations with Alice Tang, where we share stories from successful businesswomen who have saved, earned, or sold over $1 million and discuss how they built their success and insights to help you achieve your goals. Now, let's join the conversation.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alice Tang from Oregon, and I'm the host of Women's Million Dollar Conversation. Today, we have a very wonderful guest who is my good friend for the past 20 years, depending who's counting. And she's the president of OcuScreen, a very good company doing background screening. Welcome, Pamela.
Thank you, Alice. I'm so happy to spend any time with you. I'm glad to be here and hang out with you for a little bit.
Awesome. Pamela, would you share with us a little bit about the company that you are the president at and a little bit about yourself before we drill you with all these questions our audience would like to hear answers from you?
Yeah, of course. So our company is OcuScreen, and we help employers to hire confidently by providing criminal background checks, drug testing, monitoring services, and any kind of pre-employment or employment screening services. We've been doing it for over 30 years. I've been leading it for the last maybe 10.
Yeah, I just recalled and admire you so much because when we met, really, you were at the beginning of your career.
Yes, my husband actually started the company about 30 plus years ago, and I was home taking care of children and supporting him as I could. And when I met you, Alice, I had just started working with the company doing some sales and that sort of thing. So in that past almost 20 years, I went from being a supportive sales arm to really taking on the whole company. Support of an amazing team, I will add.
Good, of course, of course. Talking about money here, what's the value of money for you?
I think there's different levels of value. Number one is going to be security. I think for me, it was very ingrained that money is security and that without it, it feels very unsafe to live in the world and worry all the time about your finances. So I think that's number one. And once I think you have that base level where you're feeling at least secure, I think a lot of it is about experience. I think it just opens opportunities and allows you to have experiences that you couldn't have. And you can have lots of great experiences without money, but you can have lots of really good experiences with it as well. So
Very well put. If my dad used to say that in a positive way, if money can solve it, it's not a problem. My philosophy, just like you, is to make money and to have money so that in event there is problems or challenges in front of us to help a family member or such, we could help them, right? We don't need to think
yes.
about it.
Yeah.
But there are things that we cannot solve by money, building strong relationship with our very dear loved one or health.
Right.
If we have a little bit more money, maybe we can have help to do other stuff and focus our energy in
Yes.
those areas that is truly matters. So the first question is, let's talk about the first million. How long did it take you to get it and also get to that level? And also, what are some of the biases or challenges that you face? Tell us about a million.
It doesn't even seem real because when we were children, $1 million was like, wow, that was what the really rich people had, and we'd never have that. So obviously things have changed, and it's still amazing to me that we started a company from nothing and then we're able to turn it into something that does have value. So it's a very good feeling to know that commitment to what we were doing has paid off in that manner. As far as biases personally, and you will understand this very strongly, I'm small, female, and getting older, so I think I'm very easily dismissed. I think that even within my family, it's cute that I'm running the company. And so I'm not kidding. And so I think there's just that belief that I'm not really, a business person. And I think that in the first place, I was the one who had that belief, and I was my biggest bias. It wasn't something I thought I would do or wanted to do at the beginning, and didn't think I was qualified for it. I had gone into that belief with everyone else that it was just silly for me to even think about doing it, and had to really learn over time that I did actually have some skills. At the beginning, I always thought anything I had that was a skill was just because it was easy. So if I did something good, it was easy. If someone else did something good, it's because they learned or they had knowledge or that sort of thing. It took me a long time to realize that the skills that are easy for me are
Mm.
not always easy for other people, and that they have other skills that I desperately want and need as well. But that's why you surround yourself with people who have those skills and lean into your own. So it took me a long time to learn that,
Here you are.
and here I am.
In your journey, you might have dealt with a lot of difficult times, and there may be times that you feel that it's too hard. I want to quit.
Oh, many times.
Yes. So what kept you going?
I think just stubbornness and just that knowledge that I had a goal. I couldn't give up. I had 3 children. We had 3 children. We had a home to pay for. We had all these things. Like, there was no real option to just give up. And of course, there's always choices. Yes, we could have gone off and done something else, but I think there's a stubbornness to it. And I think there's just a belief that I can see this future and I want to move towards it and keep moving towards it. And it's not going to be easy. Nothing's ever going to be handed to you. So I think just having that kind of consistent vision that we're just going to keep doing this and it's eventually going to work out just kept me going. And that, and just not knowing what else to do. This is what we do. So we're going to keep doing it.
If I were to summarize, it's really having look up and remind yourself about the vision of the company and also the responsibility of providing to your family are the two strengths or the pillars to really determine you. I need to keep moving forward. There's
Yeah.
no other choices but move forward.
No, it didn't feel like there were any other choices that made any sense rather than to keep doing what we were doing. And it took a long time for it to pay off. We've been doing this 30 years, and I would say it's been paying off for the last few, really, for the most part. So I think it was, but it always kept us going, and that's the thing. We had something that kept us going and supported us and supported our team for a long time, but I think it's finally really clear that the benefits that have come out of it. It's taken a long time.
Thank you for saying that. Of course, wealth in general does not show up overnight. The harder we work, the more we sweat, the sweeter the fruit. I heard second language. I may not be saying this right. I'm also curious. There's a lot of decision in your business you need to make. And of course, at your level, you might not be making all the decisions, not only the task, but the responsibility so that you can focus on the things that you're good at. So as you're making these decisions that you have to make, no one can make for you. What's your process?
I almost to a fault, I like to get information before I make a decision. There's that like quick reaction that you just want to make the decision and then pull it back. And then I start looking into it. I think I've gotten better over the years of realizing that you're never going to learn enough and have every decision be perfect. So at some point, you have to get the information you need, and then you just have to decide and go forward. And I usually go forward with an attitude of, let's try it. Let's just try it. If it doesn't work, we'll back off and do something else. But it's really hard not to just stall yourself by thinking of all the worst case scenarios, the what ifs. I need more information. I need this, I need that before you move on or move forward. And so one thing I've learned is to get enough information that I'm making a smart enough decision, and then realizing that if it's wrong, we'll deal with it. Usually they're not life-threatening decisions. Usually they're decisions that just maybe take you a direction that you didn't think you were going, and then you're going to have to move that back a little bit. But overall, when we make a decision on to do something different and go forward with it, by the time we do it, we're like, why didn't we do this a long time ago? So it's not usually as traumatic as we always think it's going to be.
You made me think of fear. So if we have only one linear line, there are people who make decision with their gut. I like it, I do it here. And there are people who noodle it because they think of everything that could possibly fall apart. So paralyzing about making the decision. And looks like you're in the middle. So there is still some fear of unknown. However, you can make a decision, move forward, and you have faith that you can correct those decisions. I'd like to touch upon a little bit about the fear factor. Do you ever be fearful? Well, what if it didn't work out, even though I'm leaning in to try? Could you tell our audience a little bit?
I have a lifetime of a relationship with fear. And I think I'm learning over time where to invite that in and have it teach me and help me and guide me, and where to say, okay, back off. You're overdoing it a little bit right now. So I do think that fear is there for a reason. It's helpful. It's one of our many feelings, emotions, and thoughts we're going to have. We can't just pretend it doesn't exist. We do have to sometimes embrace it, but embrace it with like the knowledge that it's just there to help me make a decision or help me realize I need to think about something or whatever it's there to tell you. But at the same time, it's not there to control the situation. So I very much have to work on keeping fear as like a little friendly, helpful side that's saying, hey, watch out before you do this, and not have it just take over and run everything. Because that's when things are really difficult, and that's when it's hard to just go forward in life at all. I have to remind myself that everything's pretty sacred, and fear will keep you from experiencing, it will keep you from everything if you let it.
What I have learned from you just now, I'm glad that you said yes to being a guest, is fear. Befriend with fear and ask fear. What should I learn from you? Why are you here to protect me? And have a good conversation or meeting with fear. There are audience here who's looking up at you, Pam, and said, I can relate to her story. I can relate to her. What is one thing you want to tell them in order to be successful in getting to your first million? Here is my number one piece of advice.
Oh goodness, that's hard. I still feel like I still have a lot of imposter syndrome myself. I think just don't let that side of yourself that's saying you can't do this, you're not capable, you're not good at everything. I really felt I had to be good at everything. I really strongly believed I had to understand fully every single side of the business and be fantastic at every single side of it and understand everything I needed to do and be an expert in it. And it took me a while to realize I actually don't. There are great people in the world who can guide you. And in everything, in all walks of life, there are people that can help you, that can give you a different perspective, that can have a skill set that you don't have. Surround yourself with these people that will help to not only boost you in your confidence, but to help replace those gaps that you have. And then you can do the same for them. And by having that kind of a community of support, you don't need to actually be everything yourself. And it's really hard for me to let go of that. I want to be the best at everything, but it's silly. Who's the best at everything? It doesn't make any sense even. I think really just like having that support group, that faith in yourself, and that if you don't know something, you're going to find someone else who does. And that's okay. Let go of trying to be perfect at everything and great at everything, and just lean on other people, support each other, and know that you actually can get where you're going by doing that.
Wow. This is amazing. I have goosebumps over goosebumps when you're talking about it.
I probably learned most of that from you, Alice. So
no, I just feel that I have to be perfect, and still you know about my recent situation. I just felt that I had to be perfect. I have to be perfect wife, perfect partner in a business, and perfect child, but I just can't be perfect.
no, and it's the hardest thing to accept. It really is. Every day I have to tell myself, why do you think you have to, who are you? You have to be this person who's perfect at absolutely everything. It's not reasonable. And it's not even fair to others in a way, right? Everyone should be honored for the things that are special about them.
Right.
Why would you think you need to take on everything when there's other people that have skills and abilities that could be helpful to you?
Absolutely. Teamwork makes a dream work, and I'm only a part of a team. We're winding down to the last couple of questions. Are you reading a book of some sort? And if you are, would you share the book? Or a piece of very bad advice you ever received from someone and that really made a huge impact to you? Whichever one.
Wow, bad advice. I think I'll go with a book. I've had a couple people in my life lose someone or go through the process of losing someone recently, which has helped me remember that things don't stay the same as much as we want them to. And going through that experience with them has helped me feel better prepared, not because you're experiencing it yourself, but because you are thinking about things in a way that you never have before. So one of these friends had recommended the book, The Year of Magical Thinking, the Joan Didion book, and then her next one as well, which doesn't seem like a fun book to read about her husband dying. But I think what I'm learning from these situations is that it's that kind of you don't know what you don't know. So I am not in that situation yet, and I don't want to be in that situation, but I do have actually surprisingly learned a lot about things that I would never have thought of in that situation and experiencing it through others so that I feel like I'm learning more within my own family how to manage things as we move along. So that was pretty depressing. Maybe I should think of something else.
I think if we talk about grieving, you and I behind the scene talk a lot about it. It's not only death, it's any
Right.
change. I think we have something in the past that we hung on so hard to.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a memory in terms of losing a family member and such, but it could be anything. You were there helping me grieving of some sort.
Yes, I know. It's true that change is very hard for people, just humans, I think. It's easy when things get better, when they change for the better, but when things change for the worse, we feel like it's unfair. We don't deserve this. And yet it's just real. Things are always going to change. So it really has helped me to, for one, just focus on the moment, knowing that this moment is what it is. And it's going to be sacred because it's what you have. So even if it's not a happy thing or a good thing going on, you still have to be grateful that you are in a position that you're even getting a chance to experience it, right? Because a lot of people aren't. So I try to remind myself constantly that anything that I'm going through, even if it seems awful in the moment, that I'm lucky to be here to experience it, and that life is about experiencing not just the good things. It's all part of it. It's all part of the whole life experience. Yeah, it's just a reminder for me that, and just going through that, having the honor of going through difficult things with other people like you, Alice, it just broadens our life experience and creates closer relationships. So I really appreciate
Back
it.
at you. Last question. What are you grateful for today?
I'm just so grateful for everything. I'm very grateful for just being healthy and alive and able to experience life. Health is huge and it's not promised and it's not going to last forever. So I think that's a huge thing I'm grateful for. I'm just grateful, obviously, for family, friends, and support. And I'm just trying to remind myself every day that how lucky we are to be here and experience these things, even if they're not something we want to be really in the moment, that it's still an honor to be able to experience it.
Very good. We are super grateful that you make time this morning in your busy presidentship of OcuScreen to share with us a very candid and wonderful conversation that our audience can learn from. I'm going to conclude and say the biggest things I learned from you was the last point you made. It's about the moment. Even if the moment seems bad, I'm frustrated, I don't like it, at least I'm breathing oxygen to experience that. The alternative is not good or preferred. Yeah. Thank
Hopefully
you
it's
so
good.
much.
We don't know yet, but we prefer that just enjoy this experience.
That's true.
while we
That's
have
true. So thank you, Pamela, for giving us the time. We so appreciate you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me. I'm very honored to be here. I really appreciate spending time with you.
Great. Thank you, Pamela, again.